You want me to tell you about Japan? I've been coming, I think this is my 13th trip in the last 9 years. I've always wanted to tattoo here, and I started tattooing here in 2010. And my first 10 trips I came by myself, so I would be here for days on end without talking to anybody because I don't speak Japanese and no one speaks English or very little. So it was definitely a reflective time here, and being in the environment, something just resonated that I can't really put into words besides I love it here. And I love the care and detail that everyone takes with every single thing they do.
And just talking to other people and, they're like, oh, okay, you're going on a trip. Where are you going to? Japan. They're like, man, that's going to be your first one? Like, that's your first international trip? Like, that's huge.
Yeah, so for me, one of my favorite things about Japanese tattooing is the effect that it's had on modern tattooing today. If you look at old ukiyo-e prints by artists like, Kiyosai, Hokusai, Kunisada, like in them you'll see, these warriors and these firefighters and these stories, and all these guys have these elaborate tattoos, and this is from, the 1700s. And it's just cool for them to have had that foresight then, and for, us to be carrying that torch today.
So it's really exciting because just my own reaction and listening to everyone else that has experienced anything or been there or anything like that, I just know that it's kind of a pivotal moment, I guess. And then just being nervous about just not knowing what to expect, I guess. I know it's going to be a lot different than it is here, but I also know that it's going to be different in so many good ways.
That I've never been able to go and draw from life, just sitting down and drawing what I see in front of me. I've always needed a photograph type of reference to do it on my own time in my own private space. Using this as an opportunity to, almost as a work project that I can't slack off from, that I'm gonna make myself sit down and draw what I see in front of me.
I'm excited to gain inspiration from it, because most of my tattoos are floral, they have that element to them. Obviously, Japanese culture, that signifies a lot. That's a really important part of their artwork and kind of why they, come up with all these significant things to put in their tattoos, or to put in their artwork in general. So I guess, going into it, trying to find inspiration, and just, pulling all the good things from it as much as I can, and coming back with maybe a new outlook on what I want to do differently, or what inspiration I can take from it and pull it into the style that I do and kind of work off of that.
Well, hopefully the way I feel right now is a little bud on a branch. It's kind of mixed in with all the others. And I'm hoping that by going to Japan, it helps me bloom into a flower even for a short time, so I can, the world can see my potential before I fade into nothing.
I'm Brittany McCarty. I work at Ink and Dagger Tattoo in Roswell, Georgia, and I'm going to Japan.
My name is Izzy, and I'm going to Japan.
I was talking to Russ earlier about like the kind of like a little bit of an edge that we have as tattooers, because we're familiar with a lot of the imagery that we're seeing. Like, I don't think a lot of foreigners that come here, like, you know,
they can appreciate that.
not even that, just like, you know, like see like the imagery and they're like, oh, cool statue, and we're like, oh, that's a Tengu, that's a Garuda, that's a Shishi, that's a, you know.
Yeah, and we know it from tattoos.
Yeah.
You know, I think most people, when they see these things, they don't even think about the aspect of it being such a powerful part of tattooing.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I was excited about with this trip to Japan was that we would be a group of artists traveling together. So if you're an artist and you travel somewhere with your wife and your kids, or people that aren't really into art, then you want to do different things. You know, it's not possible to stay in a museum for 5 hours straight and just sit there and sketch a sculpture or a painting or something like that. But, you know, when you're with artists, it's a little bit easier to just take the time and slow down and sit and sketch and just look at things more closely. And so often when we travel, we just use our phones a lot, you know, taking pictures of every little thing that we see, collecting. And you know, what do we do with that collection? It's, you know, there's so many pictures at the end of a trip like that, you know, if you ever go back and really enjoy or appreciate any of them, you know, it just never happens. You never take the time. So we thought with this trip that tattooers traveling together with a lot more time to just sit and create. So far I've been able to create a few sketches. Got this dragon from the place where we weren't even allowed to take photos, so we just sat and looked up at the ceiling, and there was this huge dragon painting. They call it the cloud dragon, and it's just a huge painting on the ceiling, and the eyes of the dragon just follow you wherever you are in the room. So I sat there in really dim light and just made this sketch. Crazy awesome experience to just slow down in Japan and draw.
Really inspiring, like all our surroundings here, like the wood blocks, the mountains look like the wood blocks, like the trees look like the wood blocks. The imagery is actually here. Like, it makes sense that it's Japanese tattooing has gotten so far because all the references here. We don't see it, so we don't have that. I can see how it would be far easier to get ahead art-wise here. Part of not having that in a newer country in the States or even in other parts is just like culture was erased. Here it stayed, you know? It definitely gives them a leg up. And I can see like why this like trip is, or this like location is a great place for tattooers to visit. It's the same as visiting, you know, the Vatican in Italy. It's the same as visiting, you know, any other mecca of art. You can see the source.
turned around and they saw our tattoos, in particular Killian and Izzy's tattoos, and they were so excited about it. But they just they seemed to appreciate the art more than anything else. They just kept saying like, how beautiful is this? It was really interesting way to see that cultures can clash together and have like a common respect for each other.
Excited to go home and see the family, but other than that, I wish I could stay here forever, or at least bring a little bit of Japan back home with me, because I'm very impressed with not only the landscapes, the art, people, customs, you name it. I think they got it figured out over here, and they've probably had it figured out for a long time and just haven't had to change much. I think they're onto something that we've either lost or haven't discovered yet back at home. I think we could all benefit from taking a step back from our busy, micromanaging or multitasking lives and just appreciate the perfection that's around us at all times, which they seem to have mastered over generations.
The culture here is really interesting. Interesting in a lot of good ways. From the beginning until now, I feel like I've learned just how important it is to slow down and kind of take in each thing individually, from something simple like a flower to a huge temple. Every little detail has been like thought out and processed, and everything is unique in its own way.
Is it rolling? Yeah. Okay, we're wrapping up our Japan trip. About to board a plane in less than an hour. Oh, I thought it was eye level now.
Stand up.
Okay,
Stand up.
there we go. I'm all.
Let me check it again. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Just stand?
Yeah, just...
Okay. Just talk normal.
Talk-
Do I look
yeah.
at the camera?
Yeah, look at the camera.
Okay.
We got fucked over, I think.
We ended up at a tourist trap, and
Trap.
they only have one menu item.
Here it is. And,
Sake is good.
what's in it?
All right, we got a green onion, egg, sakura shrimp, bonito, red ginger. I'm gonna butcher this one. Japanese Wagyu beef, seasoned koniaku, grilled fish paste, tempura, flour, Worcester sauce, and seaweed, all together for a very low price of 730 yen.
We thought we were being asked how many seats we wanted. 5. Instead, they brought 5 plates.
No, they actually only brought 4.
They would have brought 5 if we didn't.
Oh, they fucked up.
You know what? Now I'm mad.